Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. Today we're going to discuss two. I wouldn't say, well, one of them for sure has not been well received. The other one has been well received by the people who play her, and I think hated by most other players. And that is the Puerto Rico and the Smolensk. So I'm sure there's no way anyone is on here and doesn't know what the Puerto Rico is. Um, yeah, so the Puerto Rico came out earlier, well, last week. Yeah, actually, exactly 7 days ago. Right now, I was in the middle of recording the Puerto Rico first impressions video when I got word of the backlash over the grind and realized that I'm about to make a video over a ship that's pretty much universally hated by everyone right now. So, yeah. If you want to know how that turned out, go look at the likes to dislike ratio on my Puerto Rico first impressions video. So, yeah. Anyway, so Puerto Rico comes out pretty much hated by everybody. Now, the ship by itself, taking it out of the context of the super grind that you need to go through to get it, or the super swipe of your credit card that you need to do to get it, it's actually not that bad. The ship in and of itself is fairly decent. It's an Alaska with a fourth turret. So you get 12 guns of the same caliber of Alaska's guns. They have a 22-second reload with the main battery mod 3 on there. You get a 10-kilometer radar. You can equip, I think it's hydro or spotting plane or fighter plane in the slot of the radar. And, oh, you get, of course, you get a heal and damage con too. And it's fairly okay. It does have, I do believe it does have the exact same dispersion as Montana, so you can imagine that on a cruiser. It's all right, but you have 12 guns and the reload time's fairly okay, so it's fairly balanced as far as armor goes too. It's fairly balanced there. It's fairly squishy though. That may just be because I'm used to Alaska and it being a smaller target, and you're in Puerto Rico and it is quite a bit longer than Alaska, so it is a bigger target. And in order to really get the best performance out of Puerto Rico, you do need to show your broadside to get all 12 of your guns on target, because the rest of the time you are just going to be pointing your bow toward the enemy and trying to angle. You have Montana dispersion on your forward two turrets, so you're going to be missing way more shots than you would if you were in the Alaska. So, as you can see, it's not a good ship. It's not a bad ship. It's quite balanced. It's for a premium. It's really freaking balanced. I gotta give that to Wargaming. It's a really balanced ship. Probably actually a little underpowered, if anything, but I don't think it really needs anything to be done to it to fix it. So it's by itself, it's not hurting the game. The ship by itself isn't hurting the game, not the event. The event is stupid. Don't get me confused with what I'm trying to say. It's the ship by itself is fine. The event is stupid. And then we move on to the Smolensk, the 16-gun fire-breathing Russian dragon. So for those of you that don't know what the Smolensk is, it's a Tier 10 premium Soviet light cruiser with 16 guns that reload in 4 seconds base, and it is literally the just best HE spammy thing in the game right now. So with the Smolensk, you get a cruiser that's barely armored, that has Russian ballistics and Russian shell properties, and has smokescreen, hydroacoustic search, and a heal all together. Has God tier AA, and yeah, it's annoying to play against, and in my opinion, actually quite bad for the game. You can just spew rainbows of HE upon anybody and anything, and it will go down. Except for the carriers now, because fires only burn for like 3 seconds on carriers, so I guess if you have a carrier with some decent armor on it, it's actually quite Smolensk proof. That's kind of hilarious now. And Smolensk does get her damage in through mostly fires, although she can put a fair amount of hurt on you with her death by 1,000 paper cuts. because the HE shells will pin things like the superstructure of battleships, and of course, depending upon what cruiser she's facing, can pin their armor quite well. And when she does get close, her AP is actually pretty good. There's a couple clips of me on here just wrecking Minotaurs, Boosters, Des Moines, you name it, when I get close enough with the AP, with the Smolensk. And it's just a terrible ship for the game. I mean, it's not terrible performance-wise, it's quite OP in my opinion. Not nowhere near as what I thought it was before, but it still is quite OP. Because you can literally just smoke up, hide behind an island, rain down HE and everything, and easily get 100,000 damage. It's kind of the same situation we were in with Conqueror. I hated that ship until they reworked it. Back in the day, Conqueror, you sit in the back of the map, throw HE at everybody. You can even sit broadside on because your citadel's underwater and your heel is literally a floating dry dock that can print another Conqueror for you. So that was stupid. Then they reworked it, and now it's much better. And the other thing about the Smolensk too is if you get close to a battleship, so like 10 kilometers and under, it's pretty much impossible for them to citadel you unless they're using HE and they have large caliber guns like Thunderer. So it's hard to punish Smolensk. Even at range, sometimes you'll be surprised the amount of just overpins you'll get on these things. And it's not a very large ship either. It's actually more of a large destroyer than a light cruiser. So it's hard to hit, and when you do hit it, you're probably just going to overpin it anyway. Unless you're in like the Montana, because her AP's velocity is actually quite slow. So she's quite good at punishing the Smolensk, but still trying to hit that thing with Montana dispersion. Pretty fun, in quotation marks. And it seems to be that people are just giving the Smolensk a pass now because everyone's hating on the Puerto Rico. Now, I don't honestly think that people have just forgotten about the Smolensk. I'm sure many people still don't like it. But it's just that the reaction for the Puerto Rico, a ship that by itself is actually fairly balanced versus the Smolensk, which seems to be not being talked about anymore. It's interesting. I would have figured that it would have been thrown in with all the complaints about wargaming recently. People would be saying, no, they released ships like the Smolensk and all these other HE spam ships like the Friesland, and they haven't done much to compensate for the increase in HE spam. Although the IFHE rework is still in the works, they haven't been too informative on what's going on with that. I think they released like a proof of concept spreadsheet, and wargaming loves their spreadsheets, not that long ago, but that's all we've heard in like I think 8 or 9 months since they announced that they're changing the way IFHE works. I think it's more like 6 months, maybe not 8 or 9, but it's been a while since they said they were going to rework IFHE, and now that's kind of the first thing that we've heard from it. But no, it just seems that everyone's rage is focused on the Puerto Rico now, and Smolensk is just kind of, quietly slipping out the back door as the most hated ship in the game, because the Puerto Rico is now the just target of everyone's fury and anger. And trust me, I know firsthand, because when I was playing the ship, getting a footage for a review that isn't going to come out anymore, because no one likes the ship, everyone hates you. It doesn't matter what you say. Everyone hates you because you have the Puerto Rico. And it's like, I don't get why they hate you for having it. I kind of understand the whole purpose of you spent money on this event, you're supporting wargaming, yada, yada, yada. But, at the end of the day, it is your money. I'm not going to be mad at you for getting a Puerto Rico or a Smolensk. It's your money, it's your resource, whatever. I'm going to be mad at wargaming for making the ship the way it is, or making the event the way it is. So just being overly toxic to people who have a Puerto Rico or a Smolensk isn't, a thing that I would support. Sure, I've been salty in chat towards Smolensk's before, but that's pent up anger. But just like the sheer toxicity of just instantly seeing a Smolensk, instantly seeing a Puerto Rico, and just getting dogpiled on by people on both teams, it's quite an experience. Now, I haven't been friendly fire to death yet, although it wouldn't surprise me if that's happened in the past week or so. But also, it's not a ship that you're seeing everywhere for good reason. Like I've said, it's not worth your money, and it's certainly not worth the time to grind it out. And I've seen maybe 1 or 2 Puerto Ricos. And keep in mind, the way matchmaking works now, it tries to match you up identically with your ship on the enemy team. I've ran into 2. I think maybe 3. I think I ran into 1 on stream last Friday night. But that's it. It's not a very popular ship. Not a lot of people are buying it, which is good. I don't think Wargaming would risk doing the same thing again if only a handful of people straight up buy the ship. They can make more money just making tier 8 premiums and selling them rather than making one premium worth $240. Because sure, if you have a premium that's $240 and maybe 10 people buy it, that's $2,400. But if you make a tier 8 premium that's worth $50 and hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, more than likely thousands of people, can buy it, you're going to make way more money. So I don't think Wargaming did this to be just a cash grab for everybody. Sure, they expected quite a few people to buy the ship outright, but what more than likely it seems, especially with Sub-Octavian's response, is that they were expecting people to buy the boosters, and then they get their money that way, which, again, no one's doing that, it seems. And they're even starting to refund people who have done that too. So, I don't really know what Wargaming is doing now. What appeared to be a cash grab just seems to have just blown up in their faces, and rightly so. So I really don't think they're going to do it again. If they do it again, then my God, they are extremely thick-skulled. I don't think they will though, because they're smarter than that. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I know this is more one of those rambling type videos. I do apologize for that. It's just been a very busy week. Last week before Christmas break, y'all can imagine what my life is like right now. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the video. Drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. We are under 300 subs away from that goal, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday, and I hope to catch all of you guys in the next one.